It's like a pizza crunch without the batter. It's like the wood juice without the water. You'll never get the knickers off her. What a fucking chance. Premeditated batter. Premeditated batter.
Before we begin the podcast, people, this is just a quick message for myself to thank you for your loyal and loving support. I wouldn't be sitting in this couch if it wasn't without yous, but I must ask you to support me a wee bit more. My Patreon is available now for subscription. I would ask you, please, for the bottom of your heart and your bank account, come and support them, man. Help me turn this into a full-time job. I've been doing this a couple of years now, and I really want to progress to the next level where I can make endless content. I will always feature guest episodes on YouTube, so never fear, that will always be available to anybody that wants to watch them. But if you subscribe to the Patreon, you will get notified first before anybody of who that week's guest will be. You also have the option to suggest what kind of guests you'd like to see on the programme. I'll also be doing a lot of bonus content. If you remember the solo podcast where I sit on the Patter Lounger and I sit and impart my words of wisdom, that is exclusive to the Patreon. So in order to access them, you must be signed up to the Patreon. I'll also do extra bonus content, for example, reaction videos to tunes, rap battles, to films, to anything that you want to see. Remember, when you are signed up to the Patreon, you have exclusive control. You suggest the content you want to see. What do you want to watch? And I'll do my best to accommodate your requests. I'll also be uploading behind the scenes footage to the Patreon, so how I set up for Premeditated Patter, what goes on off the camera that you see on YouTube will be available on the Patreon. How much do I ask for this? Ask for a £5 a month. £5 per month is the total. That's all I ask of you, and you will get this endless stream of bonus content. The love you give will also be the love you get. Enjoy the podcast, people. Woohoo! How we doing, Patter Ponces? Welcome back to another episode of Fivo's Got a Huge Knob. Imagine that. I had a huge knob. Imagine I came in a podcast and talked about it. I don't know if this is going to be on Patreon, is this going to be on YouTube. I've been toying with an idea because I've got so many seeds of wisdom I want to impart to you. I mean, I feel like I'm in communion with the divine. And I might sound off my nut, and I'm not, but I'm off my nut in a good way. What would you rather be, on your nut? What is the flip side to being off your nut or do lally? Because we use these terms, don't we? And obviously, known such a derogatory expression as such when we talk about people that are maybe not of sound mind, they need to take medication in order to have a balanced psyche. Some people might get section detained. We'd maybe use these phrases as off their nut. But we don't, in Glasgow, or Scotland especially, we don't say somebody's off their nut. Very seldom do we use the description, you're off your nut, to describe somebody that is not of sound mind. We use it to describe people that maybe take unconventional approaches to life, or they have unconventional opinions. And I'm not talking about people that say controversial shit, like, I don't know, Andrew Tate is a prime example. Nobody ever says he's off his nut. But the shit he says is fucking wild. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people, I don't know, I'm assuming, a lot of people probably watching this, Tate the Matrix and all that shit. Don't get me wrong, see some of the shit Andrew Tate says, this is my opinion on it, and I've stayed away from this for so long. See when he talks about discipline and all these kind of things, aye, he's got a point. But the views he's got in women is just fucking unreal, man. And you say this to cunts and no, that's the Matrix. They're turning people against him. No, they're no. He's doing it all himself. Come on, to fuck. I mean, the guy get taken out of Big Brother because he was accused of 2 rapes. If that was the cunt next door to you, man, you'd be putting his door in, man. You'd be setting it on fire and kicking it in, fuck's sake. Wolfpack would be at the door. But, I don't know, and I understand there's that kind of side, people are famous to get these accusations made up about them. Andrew Tate wasn't famous when that happened. He was on Big Brother, but he wasn't as big as he is now, because right now, like, he was in jail there for a period of time in his bra. They were accused of rape, accused of, what the fuck, was it prostitution or human trafficking? I'm not too well clued up on what the exact charges were, but it was that gist. Right, at this point, you could maybe say, maybe these were false charges brought against them because the impact they're having, or maybe they're true. Because I've watched some of his interviews, right? And see the way he is, he's quite... I think there's a part of me that thinks he plays a character on camera, but it's like... He's definitely voicing an opinion that he does hold about like women and all that. And the way he is, he's quite aggressive in his expression of the manner. And I think to yourself, imagine if you were a woman, right, in his company, alone. No, I mean, the way he talks on fucking camera about women, imagine the way he is off camera with women. That makes me think, and it reminds me of people I've known that are quite naughty, that I'm not associated with, you know what I mean? But as people I know and I've met in the past, and I'm like, and maybe stuff's came out, and maybe just something about them. They seem a bit shifty. Andrew Tate reminds me of people I've met in my life. And I've got this thing, I think personalities, traits, they're kind of linked, whereas like, if you pick up somebody's a compulsive liar, or somebody's deceitful, or somebody's distrustful, they usually exhibit the same character traits as somebody similar to that, or somebody maybe it's done you a wrong turn in the past and you can go, I should have picked up on that. Or maybe, on my part of things, maybe I'm just judging, I'm jumping to conclusions because of my experiences with life, so rather than give somebody, I don't know, give them the time in order to kind of prove themselves, it's hard for me to do that with a stranger I don't know off the internet, but maybe I'm jumping to assumptions about their character. Maybe I'm projecting my past experiences. Maybe I'm projecting my past trauma. Maybe I've had traumatic events with certain people and maybe that's unresolved. So right now that's manifesting itself in my judgment and character. Or maybe I'm right. Maybe. Just maybe. Oh, by the way, I've got some new flip-flops. Fucking old ones were about to flip-flop right off my fucking feet, man. So these are solid, man. Any cunt comes through my door, you're not getting a chopper in it, you're getting a flopper in it. But aye, the likes of like Andrew Tate, it's a tricky one. But if I was to, look, put it this way, if you were to put money on it, if you had money, it's one thing to go, oh, we never done this, or you know this, they're making this up. If I give you £1 million and says you can only bet this on whether the accusations or the view of Andrew Tate is correct or it's incorrect, and you can only bet in either one, I'm pretty sure half you cunts would change your bet. I wouldn't. I'd just go, as I say, my opinion isn't a direct opinion. I'm not saying yes, 100% right. I'm not. I'm inclined to believe the people that are accusing them. I just But I suppose everybody needs a hero, don't they? And it does appeal to these people that can't get their hole. That's pretty much it. That's what they talk about, incel virgins, man. And I've met a few, man. No, I mean, you've got subscriptions to Pornhub, he's fucking never leave the house, you spend your fucking wages and Just Eat. I've been there, not been subscribed to Pornhub. Why the fuck would you pay for something that's free? Andrew Tate would tell you to unsubscribe for Pornhub because he's always taught about money and being clever and all that kind of thing. Who in their right mind would pay a subscription to something that's free? I don't know. It's no as if it's like Spotify. Like, if you don't pay for Spotify, they shuffle the tunes, you need to deal with adverts. You don't get that on Pornhub. And I know. For experience. But, each to their own, man. But I've chosen this moment to sit in front of you, man. It was quite a testing week, so to speak. I say a testing week or so, 2 weeks. Just recently, man, I was in it was a bit of a rut, man. I just had no energy, had no focus, no motivation. You'll probably see it reflected in the podcast as such. I hate to use the phrase, I lost my drive, because that's always there. I was just struggling to go out of first gear. That's probably a better way to put it. And I was just stuck in a rut, and see, to be honest, I was eating pure crap. There's a place called Watson's Bakers. It's in Govan, it's in Shaw Street. If you like fucking greasy ass pies, get them, go down. But it's really nice, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to slate the place, but I was in that habit of eating Watson's pies for fucking breakfast, getting fucking pizzas, you name it, man. I love a good cheat meal, man, but I was having a cheat week, and honest to God, man, I was fucked. I was just pure, had no energy, had no motivation to do nothing, man. Was just sitting in my fucking ass, feeling shite. I felt terrible, man. Oh, I was honestly borderline depression. It was like a depression. And I was like, I couldn't put my finger on it. Like, what the fuck's going on? I like to go to the gym. I think I took a wee week off the gym as well. But I was going to the gym in this stage. I was doing my cold water therapy. I was doing everything. And I was just still felt fucked. But sometimes you just go through the weeks. You can show up. You can show up. You can do the business. You can go to the gym. You can do everything. But if you're no ticking all the boxes, man, you need to be doing the deal, man. Can't be half-arsed, need to get half-arsed results, mate. And I was on my arse results, man. It was fucking bad, man. It was like off. Had no energy to do nothing, man. But that week there, I ate a bit. It's not even as if I eat healthy. I just ate less shite. Know what I mean? I cut down the sugar. I say I cut down. I didn't just completely remove it. I ate a bit better, a bit more fruit, man. See the energy I had? I was focused. I was on the fucking ball, man. It was addictive. But don't get me wrong, I did fantasise about a good bit of shite eating. Because I worked in an office, and anybody that works in an office environment knows there is shite on offer, man. It's like coming out your ears, man. My boss, a lovely woman, great woman, she's a feeder. She likes to feed you with the shite, man. She's and it's obviously it's a kind nature, know what I mean? It's like treats. Everybody loves a treat, but I can't stop. I admit defeat with treats, man. Honest to God, man. So if anybody struggles to get off of chocolate, the first thing is admitting you've got a problem. And get some protein bars. See, a protein bar, they're a bit dearer, man. But you get like 4 twirls for like £1. But if you go and get a protein bar, it's like £2, man. It's a pure rip-off. But it satisfies that sweet craving. And you don't feel like such a bag of shit after, plus you're getting your protein in it. But it's these are the kind of things that make you. Because see, if you think about it, right, I'm on a path to success. I mean, I'm going to be fucking massive one day. When is that day? Who cares? Who cares, man? I used to try and put another next year. Next week, next year. Because see if I say to myself, I'm going to be big time one day. That's very attainable. That is guaranteed. No, I mean, there's no changing that. I'm in full control of that, and I trust my control. If I say I'm going to be big time next year, however, that's that kind of. I still have a certain element of control. However, what happens if it gets to next year and I've no arrived at my version of what I deem big time? Do I go, well, next year? And what happens the following year if I'm not quite at that yet? That's when doubt starts to seep in. Because I remember reading something, and it was talking about there was prisoners of war, and it was talking about the ones that manage to develop the mindset, the resilience, in order to deal with being a prisoner of war in these camps. There was the ones that would say to themselves, right, we'll do it by summer. And summer would come. These were the positive people. What summer would come, and they'd be like, right, we'll do it by winter. Do it by winter. Winter would come, they're still in. But we'll do it by next summer. Summer would come, they're still there. We'll do it by winter. Winter would come, they're still there. Eventually their mindsets would break because they're setting themselves up for failure. But see the ones that were able to cope, they were able to manage, they were the ones that were saying, we'll be out here one day. Let's just focus on the now. And that's the thing. You're in full control of being successful, of your own version of success. You're not really in control when. You know what I'm talking about? Life has other ideas. Life will happen. Life will be like, really? Is that right? We'll see. Because see, when you're striving for greatness, or even if you're striving to achieve in any field, it is very, very rarely a smooth path to victory. And that's the thing. That isn't by accident. Like, for instance, the path to success is lined with failure. We hear this spoken so often, and it's so true because it needs to be lined with failure. Because see, for in order for you to achieve, or if I use myself to achieve what I want to set out, I want to be a multi-millionaire. I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. I'm going to be a big-time actor, singer, songwriter, fucking full-time shagger, podcaster, big-time. My name is going to be everywhere. Every cunt's going to know me. Not today, but on that, to a point where it's stupid, man. I'll be going to like a fucking Amazonian fucking rainforest village, mate, and the cunts will be fucking singing my tunes. Know what I mean? Cunts will be saying, get me in the podcast. That's the kind of big time worldwide. See, that's not outside the realms of possibility. In my lifetime, definitely, I've got the capability. If other people doubt me, great. It would be boring if every cunt believed in me, kind of like that, right? I love the fact there's people to prove wrong. But I know that it's not a linear destination, it's not a linear path, it's not going to go in a straight line where I'm going to go from strength to strength to strength to strength. For me, in order to get to a strength, I'm going to need to attack weakness. I'm going to need to overcome certain parts of my being, myself, in order to get there. It's like, if I use an analogy, right, I used to play a game, I used to be a wee computer geek, right, when I was younger. I used to just sit in the house and play games all the time, right, and one game I really loved was Final Fantasy VII. If anybody doesn't know what Final Fantasy is, it's like a role-playing game. You fucking run about, you're this wee guy, and you run about, you fight monsters and all that kind of stuff, but you're going through a storyline. So I was a wee shite bag, boy, right? So I played this game, and you would get into battles, so wherever you would go, you'd get into battles, but you could run away from them. So I didn't want to get killed in the game, so I used to run away from every battle. But in like role-playing games, you start off at like level 1, and in order, you need to gain levels, you need to go up in levels, you need to fight in battles, you need to battle monsters, you need to kill monsters and all that kind of thing. But because I ran away from every battle, my level wasn't going up. So as I progressed in the game, the level of the enemies get higher, the enemies get tougher. So I wasn't of an adequate level to progress in the game. I got to a certain point in the game where I couldn't get any further because I couldn't kill the monsters I was fighting because I was at such a low level. You know what I mean? I had to start the game again in battle. So that's the thing. When I compare that to life, like if your dream life get handed to you right now, you wouldn't be able to sustain it. Your dream body, your dream anything. You need to unlock that shit. And in order to do that, you need to battle, man. And the battle is more often than not internal. You need to fight what's inside you. You need to overcome your fears. You need to approach it. The shit that's held you back all your life is predominantly you. And I'm talking about me. I've held myself back. I blamed everything else. I blamed this, I blamed that, I blamed him, blamed her. Never blamed myself once. Until the past few years, I started taking responsibility and owning it. And saying, nah, this is me that's caused this. And see, once you do that, you unlock the next level of life when you do that. You truly do, because then, once the problem becomes yours, the solution becomes yours. And what I mean by that is, if there's a problem that occurs, for instance, I'll use a situation that happened with myself. I was playing it down the rabbit hole last year, and I had brought my phone. I was going to play beats off the phone. So I'd brought my phone. I've got a fucking cursed iPhone, and anybody that knows the iPhones are the newest models haven't got an aux port. So in order for me to plug into a DJ's sound system or whatever you want to call the sound desk, I would plug in via aux. But since the iPhone doesn't have an aux input, you need to get an iPhone adapter which converts to an aux. So I had one that I'd used in the studio. It worked fine to my understanding. It wasn't the greatest, but it worked. It done the job. So I gave it to this sound desk guy, and up I went on stage, and I was standing in the stage in front of a crowd, and I was hyped up. Because to me this was my first festival, so it was a big moment for me, and I was like, I want to perform, I want to put on a show, and so I'd had a couple of rap tunes. I had my guitar with me as well, but the plan was to do a couple of rap tunes as well. It's predominantly rap tunes, and I went up on the stage, and there was like a crowd in front of me. And I was waiting on my beat coming on. I was like, let's fucking do this. And it never came on. And I looked up at the sound desk guy, and I just seen him like that. And I was communicating him via the mic. So I was first a cappella. My first a cappella was, what the fuck's happening, mate? And he's like, the cable's not working. He was trying to get it working. I was like, you're joking. He's like, right, play a song on the guitar and I'll hopefully have it working by the time we finished. So my plan was to do 6 songs. I had 3 songs on beat and 3 songs on guitar. So I went, right, played the first song on guitar, went down well, and I looked up at the guy and he was still not got it working yet. So I went, right, he's like, I do an tune. And so I done the next song on the guitar. And he played that. After that song, he didn't have it working. So I played my 3rd song on the guitar, and I was like, right, he better have this fucking working. I'm like, I do these beats. And I looked up, and he's like, listen, it's not working. I can't get it working. And I was like, I was getting pure annoyed. I hadn't ate that day. I used to do a thing, see, on the day of a gig, I never used to eat. And I'm an angry bastard if I don't eat. So I was kind of like, what the fuck, man? So I ended up playing another tune, but I threw myself off because I was confident back. I'd got in my head so much. I hadn't ate. It felt as if it'd been a long day. So I was kind of like, fuck's sake, and I was kind of annoyed. And then that way, I was on stage, so I was like a rabbit in the headlights, man. So I done it. Don't get me wrong, I got another tune done, and I just kind of went, right, that's it, I'll just do these. But I was kind of annoyed, and I went fucking after the set. I stormed off. I went and get something to eat. Then usually I'd be like, fucking pricks and all that fucking, there's fucking fault, you're straight to yourself. All that shit. Don't get me wrong, that was in my head at first. I'm not going to lie and say it wasn't. At first I was blaming them and blaming their system. Then I had to sit and think, once I had something to eat, I kind of went, wait a minute. If they wanted to if they could have got that working, they'd have got it working. They didn't sabotage me. You know what I mean? They never set out to be like, I'm going to fuck him over. Because it's on them as well. They want to put on a show just as much as I do. And plus as well, I turned up with my songs on a phone and hoping that he would be able to plug into my phone with my adapter. Why did I not bring a USB stick or even send over the songs? So that's when I realised, I said to myself, right, how can I avoid this happening again? Right, so what I do now, I get a USB stick with my beats on it if I'm going to use beats. I'll also send over my beats via WeTransfer, like by email, and I'll have some beats on my phone with a working adapter, because I flung that adapter to fuck, it was pish, it stopped working anyway. So now I've got kind of 3, I've got 2 backups in terms of if one doesn't work out. So, and plus as well, I says, and then with my guitar, I had my guitar there, I've got banks of tunes, but see, because I was on the spot, I was like, fuck, it left me. So now I'm like, right, we'll prepare, if I've got a guitar, what tunes can I play in case I can't do this tune? Have backups. See, if I continued blaming them for that problem, I would have never came up with these solutions. So that's when it comes back to, once the problem becomes yours, the solution becomes yours. So right now, if you're writing your fucking own success story, life's going to write that for you. Because we all think about, right, how we want things to go. We all want it to go a certain way. But see, if life worked like that, if you decided, I want to do this, and this, and it happened how you wanted it to happen, in that exact way, it would be fucking boring. There wouldn't be a story to that. Life is the great storyteller. Because I'm not saying you set out to go. You set out goals. I'm going to set out goals and I'm going to achieve them. How I achieve them and in what manner does that unfold? As I say, it's not linear. Sometimes you need to take a few roundabouts, you need to take a few detours, but you do get there. And certain things will happen in life that you just can't fucking explain. You can't put down to logic, or it's just, what the fuck? How did that happen the way it had? And I'm sure you're probably watching this. You've probably had experiences in your life where you're like, how the fuck did that work out like that? Everything worked out, but the way it worked out, you just can't put your finger on. And have faith in that, man. There's something looking after you. It wants what's best for you. What's for you won't get by you. See these phrases and such like that, what's for you won't get by you, everything happens for a reason. Do you know why they've stuck about for so long? Because they're fucking true. So that's the thing. Don't worry about how your success story is written. Mark out what you want to do and how you're going to achieve it. But the thing with success, it's 90% hard work and 10% luck. The harder you work, the luckier you get. So always put in that effort to grow. Because it's a process. That's why they call it the process. It's a process, and it involves you as much as external factors. Like if you want to grow a business, you want to grow a social media following, you want to grow a podcast, that is external, but within that is internal, because you need to grow alongside that. I'm not the same person I was 3 years ago when I started releasing content. I've grown exponentially. I was a fucking idiot. And see, 3 years before that, I'd have called myself a fucking idiot. And that's the thing, because we can look back in certain things we've done in the past and be like, oh, fuck, like, and cringe, and I do it on a daily basis, man. But you need to remind yourself, man, that's when you know you've grown. When you're looking back at these moments, you might have said something you wouldn't say today, something you regret, man. And that's sort of about learning from that experience and owning that problem. Because you go back to then, the minute you start finger pointing, you're not looking inward, and inward's where it's at. If you want to unlock the next level of life, you need to look inward. The battle is within. So battle their demons, man. And if you've got something, unresolved trauma, PTSD, addiction issues, man, fucking it helps there. And when I say that, there's these groups, you don't need to go through the official method of go to the doctor, saying you're depressed, then try to see a fucking psychologist or psychiatrist, which takes about 6 months to a fucking year. By that point, you've either fucking gathered some more snow on that fucking avalanche down the mountain, you've either overcome your problems some other way, or you're fucking dead. Know what I mean? 12 months, fucking good's that to any cunt, and that's just the way the services are in this country. In most countries are not, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, is there other countries where the mental health support services are great? Don't know, tell me if I'm wrong. I'd like to know, I'd like to be corrected on that, but as far, I can only base my judgment of my knowledge in the country that I live in, because I'm not really going to seek mental health support or any of that kind of support in another country, unless I was needing something, like, just an example, if you were looking to get euthanized, or somebody was looking to get euthanized for whatever reason, you would need to travel to a particular country because that. But for the sake of conversation in this matter, I'm not going to travel to like Spain, Sweden or something to go and see a fucking psychiatrist, because you've got a language barrier, and it relies on communication. But there is a lot of support networks. You've got CA, AA, NA, fucking sex offenders anonymous. What the fuck? But sex addicts anonymous. You've got so much. And these things, instantly, you walk into an AA meeting right now, just because you don't get me wrong, but AA and that kind of stuff, it relates back to addicted to substances as such. But if you've got like a substance abuse issues and that kind of thing, you can go into these meetings. You don't need to talk about like alcohol. People talk about their childhood trauma and all that kind of stuff, because that is what leads on to later in adult life, and what affects you, what causes you to go down the yellow brick road of substance abuse, because you're trying to escape something. And people, some of the stories you hear, man, they're heavy duty. I think I remember hearing a phrase somebody said, if everybody was to put their problems on the table, you would be quick in taking yours back. Because when you hear some of the fucking stories in there, they're fucking war stories, man. They're like, you're like, some people never really had a chance. But that's the thing, man. It's like, you should never compare your struggle, your suffering to somebody else. Because if we looked at it through that lens, then nobody could complain about their problems apart from a lot of 1% of the world. Because like 1% of the world have went through severe trauma like shit. It's like fucking heavy duty, like otherworldly trauma. Then the rest of us wouldn't have a fucking a leg to stand on it, but we say nothing. But trauma's subjective, man. Trauma's fucking trauma. You know what I mean? You can't fucking, you know what I mean, apologise for how something's fucking affected you. It's affected you in the way it is. It's just it's owning that, recognising like, right, this is causing me issues, and getting the correct support, man. And that's goes back to unlocking the next level of life. Because life is like a game, man. As we talk the game of life, because you're unlocking the next level, you're unlocking potential within yourself, but nobody's going to do it for you. The thing is, it's like, people can say you're brilliant. If I use myself, for example, my times when I was in prison, I was writing songs, I was at a music class, and the music teacher, he'd been about for like 30 years. I say he's a music teacher, he was a screw that took the class, but it was right into his music, been in bands and that, and he's like, you've got something here, you're really good. And but I never believed it. I always thought people were just telling me that. They were just going, oh, just to be nice. So it never done anything for me. But nowadays I do believe it. I do believe I've got great potential, I've got plenty of skills and I've got talent. And I've got the work ethic to grow that in order to make it into something special. But the thing is, very few people around me are telling me that. And I don't need them. I honest to God, I don't need anybody to tell me how good they think I am for me in order to believe it. Because that's the thing. The full world could believe that you're shite at something. But see, if you believe in yourself, it doesn't matter. It won't affect you. If anything, it'll give you motivation to prove them wrong, because you know deep down. Likewise, if the full world's telling you you're great at something, but deep down, you've got that imposter syndrome, you just don't believe it. It doesn't matter a fuck. It's self-belief. And that's the thing. As we look at it, you need to reframe the way you look at life. Or I had to reframe the way I look at life. Because I always used to look at things in the sense of what could give me the least amount of problems. Like, if you look at people in the jail, I've got no problems, and they have 3 square meals a day. If you did look at it through that lens, if you looked at it, you don't pay any rent, you don't pay any bills, you get 3 square meals a day, you get free access to the gym. So if that's what you based it on, it's great being in the jail. But if you look at the problems of being in a jail, number one, you're in the fucking jail. You're dubbed up with some cunt that's probably a smelly bastard 23 years a day that you've no asked to be dubbed up with. You don't know them. Their personality traits, their mannerisms are fucking polar opposites to yours. You've got fucking screws telling you what to do, shouting, trying to get wide with you, under 24/7 surveillance. You're surrounded by madness, the food shit. So when I list the problems, I could keep going on. I had to have a think about the benefits, right? So I always used to look at what jobs as such. I want to get a job where I just sit in my arse. No problems at all, but that's a problem itself. Sitting in your arse, it gets boring. You know what I'm talking about? And at life as well, you're like, people, money doesn't give you happiness. And it's true, because we look at it, money does eradicate a lot of problems. But anybody that's got money, anybody that's rich, they'll tell you it doesn't. You know what I mean? There's a reason why this saying is staying about, because there's a fucking element of truth to it. So, looking at life saying, I don't want any problems, I don't want any trouble and that, that's not a choice you've got, or me, or anybody's got. You can't choose whether to have problems or not. The only choice you've got is what problems you've got. And that's the thing, when I look at what I'm doing now, see everything I'm doing, that's got fucking a shitload of problems. A podcast alone, equipment cutting out, guest cancelling, people pestering you to come on the podcast, and just fucking shiting themselves and talking, you know what I mean, not even giving you a conversation. You're dealing with social media, you're dealing with trolls, you're dealing with the money it costs. A lot of work to it. The thing is though, that's the first time I've had to probably list the problems about this podcast, and that's not because I've just started dealing with them. I've been dealing with them since the day I started this podcast, and I'll continue to deal with them. But that's not important. What's important is why I do it, because I love it. I love speaking to people. I love learning from people. I love hearing inspirational stories that I can offer to the viewing public like yourselves to take inspiration from, and create that ripple effect of change, to be inspired to see people that have came from nothing, or they have encountered hardship or adversity in their life and they manage to turn it around and make something of themselves. So that's the thing. It's not a choice of having problems. Your choice is, well, what's worth suffering for? And see, the thing is, and I use the word suffering as in quotation marks, quote unquote suffering, because it's not really suffering if you're pursuing what you love, you're pursuing your passions. It's just part of the job. Like, if you work in a building site, it's going to rain some days, but you don't fucking down tools and fuck off aim every time it rains. Don't get me wrong, if your job entails that you can't work in the rain, that's different. I'm talking about if it gets difficult, or if you turn up one day and all your equipment or the material you need isn't there, I suppose there's a difference between being unable to work and refusing to work. No, you say, nah, fuck it, I'm just going to get on with it, you pull a jacket on. You just crack on with it. You just get your hands dirty and you just go for it. And it's adopting that attitude. Because we've got that attitude. Nobody. You can't gear up in life and live. If you gear up in life, you're fucked. No, I mean, if you gear up in life, you're suicidal. If you've gave up in life, that's the last thing you can gear up on. And that's the only thing you can gear up on to survive. Because that's what, if we look at like the single mothers, for instance, the fucking, somebody has a sexual relationship, or even just somebody's sex, two people have sex, the woman ends up pregnant, the dad doesn't want to know, fucks off. How often does that woman go, fuck this, I'm not looking after her, catch you later? No, they just adapt. And that's the thing about humans, man. We've got this innate ability to adapt. You ever been in a situation before you thought, fuck, the thought of it puts fear in you, man. And just doing it like that, no chance can do it. But once you've been flung into it, like driving. If any of you drive, I don't know about you, when I first got in a motor, I'm like, I'm actually going to drive this motor. I couldn't imagine me driving. No, I'd jump in a motor fucking without fucking hesitation. You just get used to it. The first few times, daunting. Riding a bike. Right, first time I jumped on a bike, I'm like, fuck. Now I'll jump on a bike with my eyes shut and cycle backwards. No problem. So it's having that ability to push yourself outside your comfort zone. Because shit in life's going to scare you. But look, that's what we're talking about, this kind of thing with problems. It's like a lot of problems will dissolve the minute you confront them. You know what I mean? And that's what it takes. And see that just alone, the effect of having been up against some kind of adversity, some kind of issue, that in your head you're like, fuck this, like getting in a fight or something. Bad example, maybe a boxing match. But once you attack that problem, whatever way, it might be methodically, it might be physically, whatever way you choose to approach that problem, with the mindset of, I'm going to solve this problem. And after you do solve that problem, it's that mindset, I've done it, that achievement. We'll go back to driving. Like, fuck my driving test. Fuck. Oh, I don't feel this, I'm shiting myself. And you pass, you're like, yes, I done it. See that fucking belief in yourself? Like, I done it. That, man, that's fucking incomparable to anything, man. The sense of achievement. And it fills you with that confidence. And I've felt like that recently, man. Like, for years, I had no sense of achievement. I did not believe myself at all. I always tried to pursue certain passions and such, and fell away from them when I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere when I expected to get to it. See, that's that I'm going to be big time in a year mindset. When I wasn't getting to the stage that I thought I should have been at and the time I thought I should have been at, I was getting disheartened and I was thinking, no, I was full of doubt. This isn't for me. I'm not the type of cunt. And then I would leave it. And I would always get into things like that. I always had this belief in myself that I knew I was capable of great things. I was going to achieve great things one day. And whenever I did find like an interest in something, I'd be like, this is it. This is the thing I'm going to be great at. But I didn't have any sense of that work ethic where I know you need to knuckle down. You need to be shite until you get good at something. Everybody that was good at something was shite at one point. There's some people that are born naturally talented, but they're not born great. You know what I mean? Everybody had to start somewhere. A beginner in some, and you know what is it they say? A master in anything was once a beginner. So you need to adopt that mindset, and that's where patience comes in and resilience. I was never patient. And I've learned how to develop patience and to be patient a lot recently. And once you learn, it's like, for the podcast, if I become patient in dealing with a podcast, and don't get me wrong, I still have moments like, fuck this, I can't be fucked with this. Take a breather, go a walk, take your eyes off it, take your eyes away from the problem, because you might be staring at that problem long enough that you fail to see the solution at the time. Sometimes you need to step back for the Mona Lisa in order to see Da Vinci. Sometimes once you take a break for something, and it's just a short break, just to think, go a walk, meditate, go to the gym, do something productive, do something, or even just chill, do nothing. And then when you go back to that problem, you'll have this newfound energy for it, this new approach. You'll be looking at it with new eyes. And that's the way to approach it, man. Sometimes the solution doesn't appear instantly. You kind of need to work around it, or you need to find a way. Have a break, meditate, as I say, just have a think. Have a think of your approach, and that's how you learn. And you learn to develop these methods and learn to develop this patience and just go, right, it's not going to happen when I want it. Hopefully it does, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to be disheartened, I'm not going to be defeated. And that's the thing, it's like the patient, I like to say the patient man, the patient person is the one who will very often succeed. And see, that's the thing, like, if you develop like patience, and Manson's try to make a podcast, which takes a lot of patience, that isn't just reserved for doing podcasts. You've developed patience in yourself. Patience is a skill that you can apply to every other area of your life. I'm doing it on a daily basis. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I've mastered patience, but I'm a lot closer to being a master than I was fucking a few years ago. And I can say that for a fact. And that's where it goes back to, see, when we look at social media as such, or making music, right now, a lot of things, it's about views. Success is deemed in view count as such. Don't get me wrong, views aren't a reflection of quality. Definitely isn't. There's some quality stuff out there that doesn't get the credit it deserves, like mine. But a lot of people get bogged down with that. Like, for instance, when I started off, the very first thing I post, done alright with the views, and it's a great thing. See, when you put something there, it's instant validation for your work. Whatever it is, it's like you put something out and it's a lot of views, a lot of likes, a lot of comments, you're like, you do get a good feeling. It's like a fucking drug. I still get it. But that's the thing, you need to learn not to buy into it if you want to achieve and be successful. You find some people say that they'll put something out and it'll get a lot of views. The very first thing they put out, they'll just put it out and it'll hit fire. It'll just fucking blow up. And then they'll maybe put the next thing out, and because they've got that kind of momentum for that first thing, it'll do alright, maybe no as well. But then after that, they'll kind of reach a wee plateau and know what I mean, people won't really take to their stuff, and it fucks cunts up. And I've fell into the trap a few times. Like, it's one of the worst things to happen. It's like, see, I don't know if you've ever heard of the case of a gambler's first bet. The worst thing a gambler can ever do is win his first bet, because that sets that tone. That gives you that feeling of winning. That gives you that chase, that fucking euphoria, that dopamine hit. It's kind of like that with views. Your first thing you put out gets a lot of views, a lot of attention. It can go to your head quite quickly because you're like, yes, I've cracked it, I'm good at this. But once the views die down, in which they do, it fluctuates. Every cunt that started, if you're lucky enough to put out your first thing and it fucking hits the top shelf, then you will have periods. Not everything you're going to put out is fucking going to be mega. It's just the way it is. So I feel privileged in the sense where, well, I started my first video or two, done alright. Then after that, some of my videos done good, but I've went through periods where stuff I put out just bombed. Like my music, for instance, I always refer back to, I make music for the love I make music. I love making music. I love listening to music and I love making it. That'll never change. Making music gives me a feeling that nothing else does. And that doesn't mean I hate everything else I do and only love music. Music is at the centre. That's the one thing I'll always do. Because I've always done music. I made music for, when I was a wee guy. I made disses, PC DJ tunes. So it's always been a part of me. I've always been drawn to it. So it's a part of what I do. I hope I make music to the day I die, because it will act as almost an autobiography, because I can listen to my music and remember where I was at a certain point in my life. And and it can chart how I'm feeling. And I love that connection people can get with your music. However, on a commercial level, my music doesn't do as well as I would hope it to, or I think it deserves to. But when I say that, I mean it doesn't do as well as I hope it will right now. It will eventually do well. I believe my stuff is of a certain quality and it's got a certain uniqueness to it. And that's what I want to be, unique, because you stand out more. And I just don't do that to stand out. I do that because I like having my own stamp and things, having my own brand, my own name. But I'm grateful for that, the fact that it's no smashed right away. Don't get me wrong, I've done a couple of videos that have done great, music videos as such. But the fact I'm able to develop that mindset where I know it will one day, but I'm doing it for the love of it. See, if I was doing it for the views, I'd have fucking geared up music a long time ago, because it just doesn't do the views. And some people fall into that trap by doing it for the views, but you're never going to be happy, because you're not always going to be hitting high views constantly. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. There's shit that's going to bomb, and you just need to fucking take that in the chin and let it develop you. And see, with like videos, if I put out, I can put out a couple of videos, like sketches and such, and it'll get a couple 100,000 views, and I'm like, ah, yes, I'm on a roll. Then I'll put out something and it'll get like 100 views, or some pish, or like 1,000. I'm like, ah, what the fuck? But I've learned to just go, ah, fuck it, is what it is. I enjoyed doing it. It didn't do as well as I'd hoped, but fuck it. I retract myself for that. But don't get me wrong, I've looked at shit like that. I've put out a couple of videos and I've not done great views, and I'm like, ah, fuck it, I'm shite at this. Imposter syndrome starts kicking in. You just need to learn that social media is a fucking weird and wonderful thing. It's just sometimes it goes up and sometimes it goes down. That's just the way it is. Just you need to try and develop your love for the stuff you create, for your art, and for the reception. Reception should be the last thing in your mind. It shouldn't. If it does good, brilliant, but it's not the be all and end all. And you see people out when they start, I talk about these people that hit the high views right away, and then as they release more stuff, the views go down and they get disheartened because they bought into these fucking views, these fucking makeshift numbers, artificial numbers on a fucking plastic screen, and they let it define them. As soon as it defines you, mate, it finds you out, you know what I mean? As soon as it defines you, it defeats you. You know what I'm talking about, man? Because you're immediately putting your sense of self, your sense of self-worth as an artist or whatever the fuck it is, that's immediately left your hands. That's left your control. Because you're putting it in external validation, you're putting it in a view count. You've not got control over how many views you do. You want to pay for views, fair enough, but you're just kidding yourself on. But the minute you put your self-worth into like views on a video or whatever the fuck, that's immediately left your control. You can't control how many people like something. You can only control how you like it, how you view it. So that's why it has to come back to a purity. You need to love it for what it is. You need to love the process of it. Love making the art. Then that way you'll never be disappointed, because you'll be happy you made something, you created that. Nobody else can take it away from you. Nobody else can create that same thing. People can create something similar, but they'll not create that because you created it. It's got your stamp on it. You know what I mean? 1 million people love it, or one person loves it. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't affect it. And that's the thing. And that's the thing you need to learn to develop. And I've developed that. And see, that's what I'm talking about, unlocking the next level of life. Because I'm not worrying about how many views I do. I'm just wanting to make stuff for the sake of making it. And that's why I do this. I don't do this for anybody else but me. Although it's beautiful that people can connect with the things I do, the things I say, the music I make, the sketches I do. It can lift them out of a dark place. It can inspire them to pursue their passions, their dreams. It can maybe inform them, open up a level of thinking. Because when we say inspiration, I'm sure that comes from Latin. I could be wrong, but inspiration stems from in spirit. The reason why you hear certain words or phrases or such that connect with you on a level, you're like, ah, fuck, it fucking hits you. But it doesn't hit other people just the same. Why is that? Because it's in spirit. Your spirit, you're connecting with that for a reason. The powers of the universe got a plan for you, man. So listen to it, be in tune with your spirit, be in tune with your soul, man. Listen to what it's saying to you. Because you know deep down what's right for you and what's not. And you connect with certain things. Keep an eye out. Be wary, be observant. Like I do. See now if I've got there's a part of me, it's no physical, it just feels something on a level that I can't really fully explain. I just know it's spiritual. And I feel myself getting pulled in a certain direction. I just let it flow. Because you need to live life in life's terms. Because whatever you've got planned, life's got its own plans. And when it comes to a roll of the dice, life wins every time. So just accept life in life's terms. Set your goals, man, and put in a fuck ton of work to get it, and see if it's the right goals for you. It'll no feel at work. Trust me, I'm doing it the now. But remember, doubt is like a salesman. When times are tough, when they're getting hard, that cunt's got to come champing at your door, and that is going to have the sales pitch of a lifetime. It's going to punt it to you. It's going to be relentless. It's going to be bump, bump, bump. Facts is such, and that's your brain. You can't escape that. That's always going to come. I'm not saying it's always going to be there, but there's going to be periods in your life where you're going to have doubt. As much as I believe myself, I still get the periods, but I recognise it for what it is. And usually doubt is a great indicator. It's a great sense of direction, because when you find that your head's trying to talk you out of doing something, and something that's not against your moral compass, just like an idea as such, maybe a podcast with somebody, or doing a tune, or releasing a tune or something, I don't release that, this and that, all these doubts, people will say this and that. That's the voices you listen to. But when I say listen to it, don't listen to it and agree. Listen to it and go, aye, fuck you, and go against it. Because see, when you find, right, see the biggest tunes that have fucking done well, or the biggest decisions ever made were the ones that people didn't want to make, or they weren't going to make until they went, no what, fuck it will set you free. So fuck it, but don't fuck it up. Know what I'm talking about? So that's the thing. Never let doubt stay in your home, because if doubt's like a salesman, what happens when you let a salesman into your house? More than likely you sign up, don't you? Never let doubt into your home. Your home's there. Believe in yourself, man. Put in the work, and it will happen. And see all the people that are saying it's not going to happen, they're laughing at you. He who laughs last, laughs the loudest. And I'll leave you on that, people. Like, subscribe, and don't get wide. Catches.